5 sacred truths only the fully spiritually awakened understand. Have you ever felt like there's something more to life than what you see? Like there's a deeper truth woven into the fabric of existence, hiding just beneath the surface, waiting for you to discover it? The journey to spiritual awakening is like peeling back the layers of reality. At first it's confusing, even painful. But as you go deeper, you begin to see the world and yourself with a clarity that changes everything. The truths I'm about to share with you aren't just ideas, they're sacred revelations that only become clear when you awaken at the deepest level. These truths will challenge you, inspire you, and shake the foundations of how you've been taught to think about reality. We often picture spiritual awakening as a peaceful process, like sitting under a tree and suddenly feeling at one with the universe. But the truth is, awakening is rarely serene. It's disruptive. It forces you to question everything you've ever believed. And that's the first sacred truth: nothing is as it seems. The life you've been living, your routines, your goals, the way you identify with your job, your achievements, even your relationships has been built on layers of conditioning. From the moment you were born, the world told you who you are. It told you what success looks like, what love is supposed to feel like, and what you should fear. But what if I told you that none of it is real? What if I told you that most of what you've been chasing is like a mirage in the desert, an illusion created to keep you distracted from the truth of who you are? When you wake up spiritually, this illusion begins to crack. At first, it's unsettling. You might feel lost, like the ground beneath you has disappeared. But this is where your journey truly begins, because when the illusions fall away, what's left is the raw, unfiltered essence of life. And that essence is infinitely more beautiful, more expansive, and more profound than anything the illusion could ever offer. Let me ask you this: how much of your life is real? Not the things you do because you're expected to, not the roles you play to keep others happy, but the things that truly resonate with your soul. What would happen if you stopped chasing the illusions and started living from a place of truth?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The second sacred truth is this: you are not who you think you are. For most of your life, you've identified yourself with your mind, with your thoughts, your memories, your opinions, but the mind is just a tool, not your true self. Who you are is something much deeper, something infinite. It's the awareness behind the thoughts, the stillness beneath the noise. Imagine this: you're standing in front of a mirror. The reflection you see is not you, it's just an image, a surface representation. In the same way, your thoughts, your ego, even your body are just reflections of the deeper essence within you. But most people spend their entire lives staring at the reflection, never realizing there's something beyond it. When you awaken, you begin to disidentify with the reflection. You stop believing every thought your mind throws at you. You stop letting your ego run the show. And as you do, you start to feel a sense of freedom, a lightness that comes from knowing you are not confined to this temporary form. But here's the challenge: the ego doesn't want to let go. It will fight to keep you in the illusion. It will tell you that you need to prove yourself, to achieve more, to be more. It will cling to your insecurities and use them as fuel. The question is, will you listen to it, or will you choose to step beyond it? Let me ask you, when was the last time you questioned the voice in your head? The one that tells you you're not good enough, or that you need to be someone else to be loved? What if that voice isn't you? What if it's just a program running in the background and you have the power to turn it off? The third sacred truth is this: everything is connected. This isn't just a poetic idea, it's a reality that you begin to experience directly when you awaken. You've been taught to see yourself as separate from other people, separate from nature, separate from the universe. But this separation is an illusion, a trick of the mind. When you quiet your mind and go within, you start to feel the interconnectedness of all things. The boundaries between you and me begin to dissolve. You realize that the same life force animating your body is the same force that moves the wind, grows the trees, and lights up the stars. You're not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a single drop. This truth changes everything. It changes how you see others, because you realize that their pain is your pain, their joy is your joy. It changes how you treat the planet, because you see that harming the earth is no different than harming yourself. And it changes how you experience life, because you start to see the divine in everything, in every moment, every interaction, every breath. Let me ask you this: what would your life look like if you truly understood that everything is connected? How would you treat yourself, others, the world, if you saw them as extensions of the same infinite being? The timeless truth why you are both the creator and the creation. When you awaken spiritually, one of the most profound realizations you'll have is this: you are not just a bystander in the universe, you are the creator of your reality. This is the fourth sacred truth, and it's one that shatters the illusion of powerlessness that so many of us live under. For most of your life, you've probably felt like life is something that happens to you, that you're a small piece in a vast, chaotic puzzle. But what if I told you that you are not just a piece of the puzzle, you are the puzzle. You are the canvas, the painter, and the painting itself. Let's break this down. Every experience you have, every person you meet, every emotion you feel, these are not random occurrences. They are reflections of your inner state. The universe is like a mirror, constantly reflecting back to you the energy you carry within. When you're filled with fear, self-doubt, or anger, the world seems hostile, unkind, and unfair. But when you shift into love, gratitude, and trust, the whole world begins to change. This isn't just a feel-good idea, it's a truth that's woven into the very fabric of reality. Think about the times in your life when you felt deeply aligned, when everything seemed to flow effortlessly. Maybe it was a day when you felt full of joy and connection, and suddenly opportunities appeared, people were kind, and life felt magical. That wasn't a coincidence. It was a reflection of your inner state. The energy you radiate is the energy that comes back to you. But here's the challenge: most of us live on autopilot. We react to life instead of creating it. We let our fears and insecurities dictate our actions, and then we wonder why the same patterns keep repeating. To awaken is to take back your power, to recognize that you are the source of your reality. You are not a victim of life, you are the creator of it. Let me ask you something: what story are you telling yourself about your life? Is it a story of limitation, struggle, and lack? Or is it a story of growth, abundance, and possibility? Because the story you believe is the story you will live. The truth is, the universe responds not to your words, but to your energy. You can say you want happiness, love, or success, but if your energy is rooted in fear, doubt, or unworthiness, that's what you will attract. The work of the awakened is to align your inner energy with what you truly desire. This means letting go of the beliefs, fears, and patterns that no longer serve you. It means stepping into the role of the creator, not the victim. But here's where it gets even deeper. You are not just the creator, you are also the creation. The universe is not separate from you. It's not some external force granting or denying your desires. It is you. The same consciousness that is beating your heart, that is breathing your lungs, is the consciousness that created the stars, the mountains, the oceans. When you realize this, you see that there is no separation between you and the universe. You are one. This is why spiritual awakening is not about gaining something new, it's about remembering what has always been true. You've always been the creator, you've always been one with the universe, but the illusion of separation made you forget. Awakening is the process of peeling back the layers of forgetfulness and stepping into the truth of who you are. But let me ask you this: if you fully understood that you are both the creator and the creation, how would you live your life differently? What would you stop fearing? What would you start creating? This sacred truth also brings with it immense responsibility. When you realize that everything in your life is a reflection of your inner state, you can no longer blame the outside world for your circumstances. You can no longer point fingers at others or play the victim. This doesn't mean you're at fault for everything that happens. It means you have the power to respond differently, to shift your energy, to create a new reality. This is not easy work. It requires radical honesty, the willingness to face your shadows, and the courage to let go of old stories. But this is the path of the awakened. It's not about perfection, it's about alignment. It's about choosing, moment by moment, to return to your truth. And here's the beautiful part: when you align with this truth, life begins to flow in ways you never imagined. Synchronicities appear, opportunities arise, relationships deepen. The things you once struggled to achieve start to come effortlessly, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. Let me ask you one final question before we go deeper. If you truly believe that you are the creator of your reality, what would you stop tolerating in your life? What would you start calling in? The eternal now, unlocking the power of presence to transcend illusion. The final sacred truth that only the fully spiritually awakened understand is this: the only reality is the present moment. Not the past, not the future, only the eternal now. This truth is the key that unlocks everything. It is the thread that ties all the other sacred truths together and allows you to transcend the illusions of the mind. But understanding this truth goes beyond intellectual comprehension. It must be lived, breathed, and felt in every moment of your existence. Let's start with a question: how often are you truly here, in this moment? Think about it. Most of us spend our lives either replaying the past or worrying about the future. We revisit old memories, reliving our pain, guilt, or regret. Or we project ourselves into an imagined future, filled with anxiety, fear, or longing. But in doing so, we miss the only thing that is truly real: this moment. The mind is a master of distraction. It thrives on time, constantly pulling you into a narrative of what was or what could be. But here's the truth: the past is gone. It exists only as a memory in your mind. The future hasn't arrived. It exists only as a projection of your imagination. The only thing that is real, the only thing that ever has been real, is the present moment. When you fully awaken to this truth, something extraordinary happens. Time begins to lose its grip on you. You stop carrying the weight of the past and the fear of the future. You begin to experience life as it is, not as your mind interprets it. You start to see the beauty in the smallest things: a breath, a leaf, the sound of the wind. You realize that the present moment is not a stepping stone to something else, it is the destination. But let's be honest, staying present is one of the hardest things to do. The mind will fight to pull you back into its stories. It will remind you of your mistakes, your failures, and your wounds. It will tempt you with fantasies of a better tomorrow. And it will do this because the mind cannot survive in the present moment. The mind needs time to exist. When you are fully present, the mind becomes quiet. It loses its power. And in that stillness, you discover something profound: you are not your mind. This brings us to a deeper understanding of presence. Being present doesn't mean ignoring the past or the future. It doesn't mean suppressing your thoughts or pretending that your problems don't exist. It means recognizing that your thoughts are not reality, they are just thoughts. It means seeing that the stories your mind tells you about the past and future are just that, stories. And it means choosing, again and again, to return to the here and now, where life is actually happening. Let me ask you this: how much of your suffering comes from resisting the present moment? How often do you wish things were different, clinging to the past or yearning for a future that hasn't arrived? What would happen if you stopped resisting and fully accepted this moment exactly as it is? This is where the power of presence lies. When you fully embrace the now, you step into a state of flow. You stop fighting life and start aligning with it. You realize that everything you've been searching for, peace, joy, love, has always been here, waiting for you to notice it. And you begin to see that the present moment is not just a fleeting point in time, it is infinite. It is eternal. It is the only thing that ever truly exists. But presence is not just about experiencing peace, it's also about accessing your true power. When you are fully present, you are no longer controlled by the stories of your mind. You are no longer a victim of your past or a slave to your fears about the future. You become free to respond to life from a place of clarity, wisdom, and love. Here's the practical side of this truth: life unfolds in the now. Every choice you make, every action you take, happens in the present moment. The past cannot be changed, and the future cannot be controlled. But what you do right now can transform everything. So let me ask you, what are you choosing in this moment? Are you choosing fear, or are you choosing love? Are you choosing to cling to the past, or are you choosing to let it go? Are you choosing to let it go? Are you choosing to live in the stories of your mind, or are you choosing to step into the truth of the now? The awakened understand that the present moment is not just a place of peace, it is a place of creation. When you are fully present, you align with the infinite power of the universe. You become a conduit for its energy, its wisdom, its love. And from this place, you can create a life that is not bound by the limitations of the mind. But this requires practice. It requires patience. It requires a willingness to return to the now, again and again, no matter how many times your mind pulls you away. And it requires trust that the present moment is enough, that you are enough, that life is unfolding exactly as it should. So let me leave you with one final question: if this moment is all you ever have, how will you choose to live it? Will you resist it, or will you embrace it? Will you let your mind distract you, or will you step into the infinite power of the now? Because the truth is, the sacred truths we've explored, nothing is as it seems. You are not who you think you are. Everything is connected. You are both the creator and the creation. All of them lead back to this. The present moment is where life begins and ends. It is the doorway to awakening, and it is always open, waiting for you to step through. Will you? The infinite awakening, living as the light of consciousness as we journey to the final sacred truth. A profound realization emerges. Awakening is not a destination, it is an ongoing process, a continual unfolding into deeper layers of truth and being. This is the fifth and final sacred truth. Only the fully spiritually awakened understand you are the light of consciousness itself. This truth is both the simplest and the most profound. It cannot be fully explained in words because it goes beyond the mind, beyond concepts, beyond anything the intellect can grasp. But it can be felt. It can be lived. And when you embody it, it changes everything. Let's begin with the question: who are you really? Not your name, not your job, not your roles or achievements. Who are you beneath all of that? When you strip away the layers of identity, the stories you've been told about yourself, the fears, the hopes, the labels, what remains? What remains is the essence of who you are. Pure awareness, pure presence. The light of consciousness that observes everything yet is untouched by anything. It is the part of you that has always been there, unchanging, eternal. It was there before you were born, and it will be there after your body dissolves. It is not bound by time or space, and it is not separate from the universe. It is the universe expressed as you. This is the truth that spiritual awakening ultimately reveals. You are not just a person having a spiritual experience. You are the very essence of existence itself, momentarily experiencing life through the lens of a human body and mind. You are not just in the universe, you are the universe, awake and aware of itself. But how do we live this truth in a world that constantly pulls us back into the illusion of separation? How do we embody the light of consciousness when life feels heavy, chaotic, or painful? The first step is to stop identifying with your thoughts, emotions, and circumstances. This doesn't mean ignoring them or pretending they don't exist. It means recognizing that they are not who you are. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Circumstances change. But the awareness that perceives them, the light of consciousness, remains constant. Imagine watching a storm through a window. The wind howls, the rain pours, the lightning flashes. It's intense, even frightening. But you are not the storm. You are the one observing it. In the same way, you are not the chaos of your mind or the drama of your life. You are the awareness in which it all unfolds. Let me ask you this: what happens when you stop identifying with the storm and start resting in the stillness of the observer? What happens when you stop being the character in the story and start being the presence in which the story is being told? When you live as the light of consciousness, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see life differently. You start to realize that every experience, no matter how joyful or painful, is a part of the infinite dance of existence. The challenges you face, the people you meet, the moments of beauty and loss, they're all expressions of the same divine essence. And because you are that essence, there is nothing to fear, nothing to cling to, nothing to resist. This doesn't mean you become detached or indifferent. On the contrary, living as the light of consciousness allows you to engage with life more fully, more deeply, more authentically. You stop reacting out of fear or habit and start responding from a place of love and clarity. You stop trying to control life and start flowing with it, trusting that the same intelligence that moves the stars is also guiding you. But let's take this even deeper. If you are the light of consciousness, then so is everyone and everything else. The people you love, the people you dislike, the trees, the animals, the oceans, the stars, they are all expressions of the same infinite being. When you see this, separation dissolves, judgment dissolves. You begin to see yourself in everyone and everything, and compassion becomes your natural state. So I leave you with this: the journey of awakening is not about becoming something new, it's about remembering what you've always been. The light of consciousness, the essence of existence, the infinite expressing itself through the miracle of you. And the more you live this truth, the more you realize that awakening is not a final destination, it is a way of being, a way of living, a way of loving. And the question remains, will you choose to live as the light that you are? Because the world needs your light now more than ever. Will you allow yourself to shine?